Hello, this is Harry Doherty, Unit 25.2, Part 2. Even if we're on the Partnership Act of 1890, even if the partners intend to form a partnership, all partnerships are limited and general partnerships which regulate by the Partnership Act in 1890. The issue with the partnerships under the 1890 Partnership Act is that the Act is rather vague and sometimes unhelpful to running a business. There are some aspects of the 1890 Act which many of those in a partnership do not realise. For example, in the absence of an agreement, a partner shares equally in the profits of the business irrespective of the amount of time or effort he or she has put into the business. A partner cannot retire if one partner decides to leave or dies, and the partnership then has to be dissolved. This divides the business and a new partnership has to be formed. This can be time-consuming, complicated and expensive. A partner cannot be expelled. If this is necessary, the partnership must be dissolved and reformed, which delivers many legal complications. An example of a partnership act would be that of when the FA first established, which saw a group of people get together and produce what's now one of the biggest football associations in the world. Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. The Health and Safety Work Act 1974 is the legislation covering occupational health and safety in Great Britain. The Health and Safety Executive, with local authorities, is responsible for enforcing the Act and a number of the other acts and statutory requirements relevant to the working environment. The Act places a duty on all members to ensure the health and safety and welfare at work is achieved of all their employees, among other provisions. The Act also requires certain factors to be followed: safe operations and maintenance of the working environment, plant and systems, maintenance of safe access to the workplace, safe use, handling and storage of dangerous substances, adequate training of staff to ensure health and safety, and adequate welfare provisions for staff at work. Employers must also keep and revise a written record of health and safety policy and consult with employees of their representatives on such policies. This only applies to those employing 5 or more. Almost any sports business will need to have this act in place in order for the business to run smoothly and appropriately. Planning permission. A business is likely to need planning permission if you want to build something new, make a major change to your building, e.g. building an extension, or change the use of your building. To find out if your project will need planning permission, you should look to contact your local planning authority. If planning permission is required, you can apply for this online. If the business needs planning permission and you do the work without getting it, you can be served an enforcement notice ordering you to undo all of the changes you have made. If the building project benefits the local community and the community supports it, you may not have to go through normal planning permission process. Neighbourhood planning and committee right to build lets your community grant planning permission directly under certain circumstances. An example of where planning permission would have needed to have been put in place would be that of when Brighton and Hove Albion FC built the American Express Community Stadium and their state-of-the-art new training facilities. In order for them to build these, they would need to have been given permission by local authorities to build in the particular locations. Projected cash inflows. This is the funds received by a company due to sales, financing or investments. Cash flows are also used to check the overall financial health of the business, and a company with a large, stable cash inflow can be considered to be in a good financial position. Examples of cash inflow in a football club include funds from investors and sponsorships, payments for work done by club and matchday sales, services and resources owned by the organisation. Loans. This is a written or speech agreement for a temporary transfer of a property which is more than money from the owner lender to a borrower who promises to return it according to the terms of the agreement, usually with interest for its use. You can get different types of loans. Some of these include, if the loan is repayable on the demand of the lender, it is called a demand loan. If repayable in equal monthly payments, it is an installment loan. Or if repayable in a large sum on the loan's expiration date, it is a time loan. Banks further classify their loans into other types, including consumer, commercial, and industrial loans, construction and mortgage loans, and secured and unsecured loans. In relation to a football club, a loan may be used if one football team wishes to sign a player from another club, but only for a certain time basis loan, for example, 1 month, 3 months, or 12 months. Another example of when a loan may be used in a football club is playing at a lower level, then they may be restricted on equipment and therefore have to rely on other clubs to loan them certain equipment they need. Sales. Sales refer to the activity or business of selling products or services in any business organisation. The sales department is what generates the most revenue, no matter how good your manufacturing operation is, how cutting edge your technology is, how tight your financial goals are, or how progressive and forward-thinking your management techniques are. You must still have a sales mechanism in place, or everyone else does not work efficiently. With regards to a football club, sales can be made in a variety of ways. For example, ticket sales, merchandise sales such as replica kit, and accessories with the club logo on. Wages. Wages are compensation for an employee's personal services, whether paid by cheque or cash, or the reasonable cash value of non-cash payments such as meals and lodging. The method of payment, whether by private agreement, consent, or authorised, does not change the taxability of wages paid to employees. Payments are considered wages even if the employee is a casual worker, a contracted labourer, part-time, temporary worker, or paid by the day/hour, or any other method or measurement. Other ways in which employees can receive payments include bonuses, overtime pay, sales awards, commission, and holiday pay, which can also be considered as wages. Ultimately, your job role has an effect on your wage. For example, at a football club, a player is obviously going to receive more money than someone who works in the club shop, for example. Also, the level of ability in which the club is at can also affect. For example, the bigger and better known the club is, the more money they're likely to be able to pay their employees, whereas smaller clubs will have to pay less money because to only pay certain employees, as most do it on a part-time or voluntary basis. Promotion costs. This can be seen as a cost that a business has to make in order for its product or services to become better known to customers, and can usually be seen in the form of giveaways. It can be considered that promotion costs are tax deductible as business expenses, provided they are ordinary and necessary. When writing off promotion costs on their tax returns, companies should take care to ensure that these expenses would not be more accurately classified as advertising expenses or charitable contributions. An example of when a football club used promotion costs is when handing out free programs, flags, and scarves to fans. This means that more people are wearing the club crest and therefore more likely to be seen by the people, which will effectively get the club's name more recognisable. Determine work capital requirements. The amount of working capital a company has determines whether it must maintain in order to continue to meet its costs and expenses. A working capital requirement will be different for each company depending upon many factors such as frequently the company receives earnings and how their expenses are. An example of when this might be seen within a football club is when they are required to pay any debt obligations and any other business related costs. Many factors are likely to determine these, including the competition in which the club performs in, the nature of the industry and organisation, as well as any net cash profit which has been made. Cash outflows. These outflows are the total outgoing funds from the company in a given period of time. Cash outflows include expenses such as salaries, supplies and maintenance, as well as paying allowance or servicing any debt held by the organisation. A company may be required to seek additional financing if cash outflows exceed cash inflows. Examples of cash outflow in a football club include payments to other businesses and clubs for things such as transfers, purchases of transport to away fixtures, and any other services needed for the survival of the club, as well as players and staff wages. Use of projected cash flow software. Different businesses generate sources and uses of cash statements to evaluate their income and expenses to check profitability. Certain software has been created to determine this cash flow. It creates what is known as a pro forma, which is projection of future cash flows based on assumptions about growth and decline of the income and expenses within the particular business. Similarly, a projected cash flow statement can help you evaluate your personal income and expenses and see if you potentially may go into debt in a future date. A football club may use this software to help them determine how their overall financial state is going and whether any improvements are needed to be made. Thank you.